Now we're going to take a look at some very basic concepts on how to distribute your weight and knee on belly. This is a position that can be a lot of use, especially in a self-defense situation, and it gets you points in jiu-jitsu, so it's important that we look at how to do this. So Nelson's laying flat on his back, and now we're just going to look at how to control here, how our weight should be distributed, and how to transition from side to side, which is something that not a lot of people practice. So, starting in knee on belly, I like to keep my knee nice and heavy up here on the middle of his stomach, and you post that foot out in line with the shoulder. This is a very technical way to look at knee on belly, and it can get very heavy for your opponent. The truth is, where you post this foot is really going to be dictated on how your opponent's moving once you learn how to surf and ride his body weight. So, where this is technically right, you may see sometimes in the higher levels where people will post their foot all over the place, but that comes with a perception of how to balance your weight. The main concept here that people miss is, one, my knee is on the belly. It is not called shin on belly. I see a lot of people control this way, and it puts the center of balance right here in the middle of their shin, and it becomes very difficult for us to transition. I can pivot a little bit, but for me to go to that other side, it's almost impossible. For me to run around the top, it's almost impossible. So what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you have your foot, the bottom of your leg is pushing on the floor. So Nelson becomes my peg leg. If I was a pirate, I wouldn't have a wooden leg, I'd have a Nelson leg, okay? If my Nelson leg falls out from under me, I'm gonna face plant. That's part of being able to ride his weight. So what I want you to do is I want you to drive that knee into the stomach, and it doesn't matter, there's a lot of acceptable places for your hands. I like to keep one hand down here by the hip and one hand right here on the shoulder. That way if he does start to come up on his side, it ensures that I get the underhook on this side and the crossface on this side, or at least one of those two things. That's why I like that place for my hands. But you need to have the majority of your weight on this knee. This one out here just keeps my balance and repositions. You need to keep heavy on your opponent. You'll see that my toes do lightly touch the floor, and I do that in case I want to transition out on my feet and I want to be able to block the hip or be able to transition in here behind the arm for the arm bars. And we'll look at those in a second. Right now, we're just going to look at how to transition to the other side. We're going to do what we call the windshield wiper. My hands can either stay on the shoulders or go to the floor. The shoulders is a little bit more advanced. It takes a little bit better space management back here in the leg area. And the hands on the floor is a little bit easier and takes a little bit of weight off your opponent, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with our hands on the floor, and now we're going to bring both knees into the belly. So you see that both of my feet are together and both of my knees are on the stomach. From here, I'm going to windshield wiper. I'm going to bring both of my feet up, and they're going to clear the knees. We'll see it in another angle in a second, and then we'll be on knee on belly on the other side. So my hands are on the other side, I rock forward, my knees come up, I cup, and that foot comes out. Nice and heavy, my chest is nice and low in case I want to transition, okay? Keeping the hands on the floor, both knees to the belly. I've got a strong Nelson leg here, okay? Both knees to the belly, I windshield wiper, foot and foot out. I've got that knee on belly position, nice and heavy on Nelson. All of my weight is on him, on the knee, not the shin. Hands to the floor. My knee comes in, I windshield wiper off to the other side, I get down nice and low. Knee in, I windshield wiper, nice and low. This is where it's going to be difficult. Focus and see how my legs cut the space here. We don't ever want to go in the space above the knees. Some of my students will come up here, and this is going to get you caught. What I need you to do is I need you to bring nice and easy on the inside of the thighs and cup them down. It will be very difficult for your opponent or your partner to stuff your legs if you have your shins up and straight up and down like windshield wipers. Make sure not to come over this. You don't want to drag your feet into here. That's not good. So I'm here, both knees, windshield wiper to the other side. This is an important depth and an important transition that you need to have, not because you're going to exactly do it like this, but because it transfers over into a lot of your other transitions. This can be a great drill. You can do it by yourself with a hanging bag. You just lay it down and you just put your hands on each side. Windshield wiper, windshield wiper, windshield wiper. Making sure that you keep your heel down and that you're not coming up on the balls of your feet turning towards them. It's not a running stretch.